Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about Chuck Dixon because Chuck Dixon did an interview explaining why manga is wiping the floor with American comics. And before we start, let me just. Oh, comic book industry, you morons! You idiots! You imbeciles! Okay, I'm back to normal. I'm sorry, I just had to kind of burst that out right quick because it's just kind of like Chuck Dixon, you saying what a lot of people been saying for years, and you can put that to goddamn American movies too. Like, make this make sense, y'all. You have a legendary writer who worked in the industry before he got fucked up, is telling y'all why comic books suck. And y'all probably went on Twitter and was probably trying to say how terrible he was. But he's telling the truth. There is no more debating with this. So no more debating about comic books are doing good. No, they not. They're not. They're not. They're trash. They're trash fire. Yes, you have a few gems, and a little bit of indie and Kickstarter. But the industry overall, trash fire. Trash fire. And look, Trey loves the comic book industry. Okay? I like comic books and I love my manga at the same time. And I would love for, it to be a competitive lead with 1 minute manga's on top, the next minute American comic books on top. But the truth is, it's not, because it is trash fire. Most of the recent stuff that's coming out of DC, Marvel, some of the other comic book publishers is trash. It's trash. There's nothing much to say about it. There is nothing much to say about it. And it's getting tiring. I don't know how many times somebody has to come out that works in the industry, or somebody in the industry at all, have to come out and say, hey, comic book industry, you guys suck. It's the same thing when Quentin Tarantino talked with Bill Maher about how movies now in America suck. Entertainment in America sucks because they put agenda over art. Ding, 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 ding. Dum-dums. Agenda over art. All the damn time. You got weirdos like Vita Ayala, dumbass, writing nothing but queer stories that nobody cares about. Not even a good writer. Then you have the editors in both industries scared to edit somebody because they make a mistake or something like that. Because they'll go on Twitter and rage out and be like, my fifis will hurt. Screw your fifis. Screw them. Sometimes you have to be the bad guy in this situation and get stuff done. Get prolific stuff done. You barely have prolific writers. Then you cheat out some of your iconic creators and writers or whatever. Don't want to pay them hardly any royalties. Then the artwork's trash. Then you're trying to charge more and more. I mean, for God's sakes, the new relaunch of X-Men has over 26 variant covers just to make up to the bullcrap of the sucky storylines, because the X team decided to screw Jonathan Hickman over and decided not to go with his plan with his plant mutant people. I mean, I don't know what the hell that damn tell y'all. Then y'all gotta try to take characters, and you gotta get rid of the original characters and put in diverse female gay characters. Then you gotta take iconic characters and make them part of the LGBT community because reasons. Then you gotta take iconic costumes away from them and cover them up with something that looks terrible or trash. I mean, the X-Men characters haven't stayed in a solid costume since the damn 90s. Since the 90s, these bitches ain't stayed in a solid costume. Some of them have, but for the most part, no. I mean, hell, at least Captain America stayed in the same costume for 80 damn years. It might be a little tweak here or there, but at least it got the point across. Y'all can't even do that. Y'all can't even take the one outfit and just, do a little tweaks here and there. I mean, make that make sense. And then you got to reboot the continuity like dummies. then you gotta what's the other thing you gotta do? Then you gotta do relaunches of the darn titles. Oh, here's issue number 1, even though it picks up right after issue 13 that we canceled. Make that, what the hell? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Then what, 23 pages, and then you have the nerve to take half of those pages and put advertisements in it and side stories that nobody asks for, and trying to charge $9 or $7 for almost damn near $10, and I'm getting less than 30 pages in a floppy, when I can go and take that money and get a volume book, when I can get a manga for that price. You screwed up. It's on better page, it's better quality, the artwork is consistent. That's another thing, you can't even be consistent. You can't even choose a consistent style for DC and Marvel. And you used to have house styles for DC and Marvel, and you don't even have it anymore. Think about that. Anime and manga have a distinct style for each book. There is never going to be, like Jorge Jimenez, who does Batman, right? You'll never see in anime and manga, especially let's say Akira Toriyama, you're never going to see Akira Toriyama's artwork in One Piece. You're never going to see a chapter done by him in One Piece. You know what I'm saying? No, his style for Dragon Ball is going to stay in Dragon Ball. And the same thing with the Oda with his One Piece stuff. His One Piece art style is going to stay there. Yeah, they might do spin-off mangas, or they might do another manga, but it's going to be a different story. It's not going to be the same character in there. You guys can't even do that. Like Jorge Jimenez for Batman, right? If this was a manga, all of the Batman spin-off titles and stuff like that would have to be in his style. So the style that Jorge Jimenez did right now in Batman, that would go to Batman, that would go to Detective Comics, that would go to Batman Secret Files, The Signal, that would go to Batman Reptilian, that would go to Batman Three Jokers, that would go to Batman, that would go to the Joker solo series, that would go to Nightwing, that would go to the Robin title as well, that would go to Batman Urban Legends. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That one style would have to permeate all of the Batman titles. Or then Ivan Reyes for Superman. It would have to be Superman and Authorities. It would have to be Superman John Kent. It would have to be Supergirl. It would have to be Superboy. It would have to be Action Comics as well. Any spinoff that has Superman as the star or whatever, or Superman characters, that is the one house style. Or whatever. We can't even do that. We can't even keep that style. I'm just being honest. Or like back in the day when Jim Lee was doing X-Men. If this was a manga, guess what? All of the X-Men titles, that means X-Men, Excalibur, X-Force, X-Factor, what's the other thing? What's the other one? The Uncanny X-Men, what's another X-Men title? Wolverine, Gambit, Archangel, Iceman. God, I'm drawing some blanks. I am drawing some blanks. X-Corp. What's that new title that just came out right now? Well, it doesn't really goddamn matter. But all of those X-Men titles would have had to be in the style of Jim Lee. I know that sounds crazy. But it's true. It is literally true. We can't even keep a style for one thing. I'm sorry. I think DC and Marvel needs to go back to a house style. Whatever style it is, that's the style that will continue to be the style forever. There is no more changing up the guard for anything. So that means that that's how manga and anime kind of keep things together. Like, let's be honest, what superhero movie or show really looks like the comic books themselves? None. Yeah, there has been some DC animated movies that took the art style of the artist or whatever, but that's about it, really. We've never had like a like Batman the animated series, the whole Timverse. There isn't no the Timverse characters. Yeah, they have their own comic books, but as like the main continuity stories will not look like Timverse work, and that's the truth. That is the God honest truth of the matter. We have to change up something. But anyway, Dixon goes further goes on to talk about it. He's like, it's not too hard to figure out, really. There's a lot of dedication, passion, and craft in manga, and that's missing almost entirely from the big two. It is. There is hardly no passion. It's more about agenda-driven nonsense, preaching to the choir that nobody asks for. There is hardly no diversity or variant in nothing. And back in the day, DC and Marvel used to have everything. They used to have supernatural. They used to have westerns. They used to have horror theme. They used to have war books. They used to have like mundane stuff. They even had ones where it was about the supporting characters like Jimmy, Lois Lane, all that kind of stuff. Side characters or a high school themed comic book or whatever. And their goal wasn't to get everybody into it. Their goal was to satisfy a niche market or whatever. But you guys can't even do that. You can't even do that anymore. He elaborated, Marvel and DC still runs the stores here. They're still market leader, and unfortunately there is no variant there. There's nothing really different. There's not something for everybody the way there is in manga. And again, Dixon is correct. There is about several hundred things for manga. If you want a story about peaches, you can literally pick up a manga and a peach will be the main character of the damn story, and it'll take you on this incredible adventure that you would have never guessed. But because you're into peaches, bam, tennis, you got a book for that. Concrete workers, you got a book for that. Doctors, you got a book for that. Volleyball, cooking, for God's sakes, track and field, western, future tech, sci-fi, horror, blood, gruesome, sex, violence, drugs, like any kind of genre you can think. For God's sakes, incest have a darn manga for it. That's weird, but hey, it is what it is. And for all you people part of the LGBT community, there are several hundred mangas and animes based around being gay. I kid you not. And they sell. I can tell you they're selling better than what DC and Marvel's putting out. And you would have never guessed because they don't really care about trying to promote the stuff like that. It's great that people like it or whatever and stuff like that. And it's all about here and there or say or whatever. But hell, they get sales. They sell millions of copies. We can't even do that for our floppies. We haven't done that since the 1990s. Since the 90s, really. Say what the hell you want to damn say about the 90s or whatever and stuff like that. But hell, I mean, books were selling. I understand there was a whole bullshit craze of crashing and speculating or whatever, but comic books were still selling. And I don't know. I don't know what happened here. There are too many variants for manga that you can never be bored. You want something niche or whatever, you got something. Hell, they probably even have a manga about grass. And I tell you, I bet you it's a beautiful story. And you wouldn't even have guessed that the grass could have took you on this amazing journey. But you can't get that from comic books. You know what I'm saying? And he also says that Dixon also toured the artwork in manga. It's not hard to see. The artwork is attractive. It's different. It's engaging. It's interesting. It's varied. So there's a lot of reasons to like manga. Again, he is correct. He is definitely correct in his assumption. A lot of the artwork is beautiful in manga, and it is. And then especially when they animated it too. Oh man, it's beautiful. We can barely get some of our some of the greatest artists that we have in comic books today. We can barely get them to stay on a long running series because DC and Marvel don't want to pay them, or they get tired, or whatever, or they just don't feel like doing it anymore. And it kind of sucks. It really does kind of suck because, I mean, you have all of these amazing artists and we're barely, crossing anything with them. I mean, I haven't seen a comic book run that had an artist on there for so long. And I'm talking about long. I'm not talking about just a year. I'm talking about years. It's been a while since I've seen a comic book that had the same artist. No filler, no fill-in artist, no, oh, this artist is going to do this one and then the regular artist be back the next day. No, it's been a while. It really has. And I'm not saying that there aren't any comic books that haven't, but for the most part, not really. Not really. And let's see. He also says, and a whole lot of reasons to like what's out now, because what's out now from the big two is mostly part poorly crafted. There are a few sections, but most part is poorly crafted, poorly conceived, and there's obviously a political agenda to everything, and there's no variant. And again, he is talking the truth. He is talking the truth. Y'all always want to try to throw y'all political nonsense into these comic books. You always want them to be your mouthpiece to everything. And it's just like, shut the hell up and give me a good story. You guys don't even think about that. Then you got people that work in the industry, work with these characters or whatever, hate the fans, hate the characters, hate everything about the comic book industry, but then want to work in it. Make that make sense. How you hate everything about the comic book industry, hate the fans, hate the character, but then you want to change everything about the character's history and everything to accommodate your needs. Make that make sense. He also expanded on the Japanese manga and states, in Japanese manga, there's a golf comic. There's not one comic about golf. There is multiple comics about golf in manga. And he also continues to say that, and I've made reference on those videos of one of my favorite mangas is about fishing. It's just about fishing. It's not about vampire fishing or on another planet or witch fishing or fishing after a zombie apocalypse. This is about guys fishing, surf casting, and whatever. Fishing from a boat, fishing from the shore, fishing from the banks of the river. And the story is fascinating and it's beautifully drawn and beautifully realized. And again, each to their own. I wouldn't read no goddamn manga about no damn fishing. No damn fishing. But guess what? There are hundreds of people who would read that and enjoy it, and it's beautiful and it's beautifully drawn. He's right. A lot of the mangas are beautifully drawn. They're detailed. They're fascinating and stuff like that. And hell, if reading a manga about fishing gives you so much joy and makes you want to continue to read the series, and if the series is doing well because of that, go for it. Because I can tell you from what he's telling, I believe there's the truth in that. There's truth in that. And let's see. And he also continues. He says then they're contrast with American comics. But here, what do we get? We get superheroes, poorly done superheroes. There really isn't anything else at the mainstream companies. It's superheroes, and then they're all avatars for the writer's political agenda. And they're kind of tiresome. They're partly well drawn, and they're partly well realized. And again, he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. It's nothing but superheroes. And then when y'all do try to make something new, y'all get mad because you're not getting instant gratification or instant sales. So you cancel them, but you don't put no time and effort behind them. You barely put money into the marketing or whatever. And then it's up to YouTubers or other people to try to promote it. When y'all the big two, y'all the ones who have marketing things. Y'all should be able to market these comic books out to people. But you can't even do that correctly. You can't even do that correctly because you're so busy trying to throw the political agenda. Then again, you use these characters as avatars for y'all to preach at the readers, and then get back that the readers are walking away. Make that make sense. And then you got the folks that's working right now in the comic book industry trying to dox manga because manga's doing better. Manga's doing better, and manga's delivering what people want, what they ask for. not the trash that y'all think we need. That's another thing that y'all got to get out your head. You guys are customer service. Like it or not, your job is to service me as a customer and make sure that I want to read your stuff. But when you keep constantly giving me trash, when you keep constantly talking about, oh, I'm this istophobe and all of this nonsense, or I hate you guys or whatever and stuff like that, okay, I'm out. I'm out. I don't have to read or support your stuff. You know, like it or not. And then Dixon also questioned, why do we want to read this crap if we had the choice of reading a genre that prefer to be it horror, mystery, espionage, or golf, when there's only one flavor in American comics, of course. Japanese comics are going to win the day. He went on also to state that the biggest problem here is that all I see American comic books creators, the people in the mainstream, do is complain about manga. Well, why don't you learn from manga? Why don't you look at what manga's doing and do that? Again, that is so true. They will complain, and won't learn a damn thing about why manga is successful. And they think if they can draw their characters in that style, that will pick it up. No, because it's still full of the same sucky bullshit storylines that we've been reading for the past 10 years. It's been a decade of trash. I'm sorry. Yes, again, there are few exceptions to the rule. But again, when most of it's trash, it's trash. Most of it has been trash. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, for God's sakes, the big three, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, are not selling millions of copies of their books. And those three should be the leaders of the industry. And it doesn't even matter if it's DC or Marvel. Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman started this superhero genre, and they should be on top of everything, and they're not. When have we heard a good Wonder Woman story in a long time? Crickets. And the last time we had something good with Superman, y'all had to self-sabotage it by bringing in Brian Michael Bendis because of reasons. Make that make sense. Then you oversaturate Batman to God knows I'm sick of Batman. I never thought I would say that, but I am sick of Batman. Wonder Woman, y'all can't get her straight for God knows for what reason, because y'all want to keep trying to retcon and add and retcon and add, retcon, take away, retcon, add. Make that make sense. Y'all got so far away from what she was originally supposed to be. It's shameful. And again, you wondering why manga is succeeding. And then Dixon also offers a solution. And I don't mean draw people with huge eyes and a lot of speed lines. I mean do variant stories. Do more complex story. Put more effort into artwork. Put more effort into craft. Change the formats, for God's sake. Stop doing the little follow comics and look at what manga does. These big fat telephone books, comics released weekly, things like that. Just change the formula. Look what manga is doing and why manga is successful, and try copying that. He did laugh, of course, if they tried to copy it just like that, just like they did in the 90s here in the United States, then they'll just get it all wrong. They don't know what they're doing, and then they have no interest. They're just going to complain about it as if that's going to get them any more readers. And then Dixon also laminated. So it's sad. It's a sad state of affair, but everybody saw it coming. It had to happen. There has to be winners and losers. As the American comic book sales fall, something has to replace it, and manga is right there. It's popular. I know my kids know kids who read manga. They don't know anybody who wants to read American comic books. And the kids that my kids know who read manga are just casual readers. They're not fans. They're not geeks. They're not going to conventions. They just like reading manga. They like reading it on their phone. They like reading it on the book. And there you go. I don't see the mainstream, the big two, ever catching up, although they're all alternatives. I mean, again, he's telling the truth. And on top of that, the big two done taught these people that, hey, comic books are stupid. Comic books are lame. Don't read them, because when they do movies and shows and stuff like that, you have people who are actually reading the thing, and y'all done had them taught people that are reading the comic books that they're wrong for wanting the characters to be adapted correctly. But then anime and manga adapt the characters correctly. Nobody complains. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Y'all taught them. Y'all taught people that comic books are not important at all. You did the big two. You have told people comic books are not important, because when people who reading comic books are reading comic books, you don't taught people to call them nerds or istophobes and all that kind of stuff or whatever, when they want to see the characters that they've been reading about for years, decades on decades, being adapted correctly. Then y'all want to get so far away, so far removed from what the characters are when y'all make shows and movies. I mean, for God's sakes, you have My Adventures of Superman, where you have a mixed Latino Lois Lane, when Lois Lane has been white for years. You have a black Jimmy Olsen, and then guess who's going to be the leader? Lois Lane, dumbass. And on top of that, this bitch got on leggings and has a boy haircut. Don't look like a girl at all, even though she's supposed to work in Daily Planet, which is a business casual place. Make that make sense. Or Supergirl. You took her out of her goddamn iconic dress and put her in some goddamn pants. Because that's cute for Supergirl. Come on now. then you take characters like on the Arrowverse, Mr. Terrific. He has a wife and child who died or whatever and stuff like that. And instead of focusing on that, you're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we made him black and gay? I mean, wouldn't it be cool if we made him gay with a husband? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. And he's not a billionaire anymore. He's not an Olympic champion anymore. No. He and then Batman. Oh, hey, let's make him disappear from the city for years, and let's add in a black person to play Batwoman because reasons. Then let's give Superman a fanfic child that nobody asked for, Jordan. Then with Marvel. Hey, let's make all the men look like idiots. Black Widow. Let's turn all the Norse gods into black people too, because Norse mythology is definitely coded with black people in mind. Even though black people wouldn't exist during that time over there, because that wasn't the continent they were on. But hey, whatever. Let's turn one of the most iconic gods, Norse gods, into a black person because reasons. and let's talk about Loki being bisexual all of a sudden, which bullshit though. But hey, go with it. Go wild. Make that make sense. But then people like me be like, well, in the comic books they look like this. Well, in the comic books, they wouldn't do that. In the comic books they don't look like this. Oh, shut up. You're just a fanboy. You're just a nerd. You're just homophobic. You're just istophobic and all that bullshit. And I'm just like, how am I that when I'm the one reading the stuff and you guys aren't reading the stuff? Make that make sense. But in anime and manga, what you see in the book, you're going to see in the anime. The toys and the books, the plushies, everything is going to look exactly like that character. Y'all can't even do that because y'all so busy trying to bring in realism. We got to make people feel good about themselves and make themselves feel seen. So we got to make sure we add diversity and different body types and LGBT stuff in there, because that's what people want. That's what people want. And that's why you continue to fail. Chuck Dixon just told the truth. He just told the truth. Now it's up to you to, acknowledge it or whatever. But I know how y'all is. Y'all probably on Twitter right now or in other people's comments and talking about how trashy that was or whatever. Chuck Dixon don't know what he talking about or anything at all. And, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Comic books is doing great. Okay, sure. Keep believing that if you want to. Keep believing that if you want to. That's why most of the mangas are sold out and they're having page shortages with manga. But the comic book floppies that they're making right now, you can't even get rid of them. You can't even get rid of half of them. But hey, all of this is just made up talking stuff. But hey, what do I know? I'm just Trey, so hey, I'm just some fan that don't know nothing about nothing. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.